This is a video of the trip in May of 2020 during the COVID crisis. Four of us went up to the Greenhorn and Piute Mountains for a day trip of about 420 miles. James, Mike, Sean, and myself. This is up through Grimes Canyon, north of Moore Park. Really nice day. Up through the 5 Grapevine Highway through Gorman. Here you can see the poppies growing on the mountains. Really nice cloud formations, and then up through Bakersfield into the mountain range where the Greenhorn and Piute mountains are. So this is another sub map here. As we went through the Piutes, we went into the Caliente area. This is the train track that runs through Tehachapi. There's some cows here. This is Bodfish Caliente Road. We took that around the mountains until we got over to the Piute Mountain Road, which is the ridge road that runs up to Lake Isabella. Quite a few people were out in this section. You see a hiker and her dog and some dirt bike riders were up ahead, so we had to be careful. It was pretty dusty. James is in front of me there, and Sean is out in the lead. Mike's behind me. This is up at about 4,000 to 6,000 feet for most of the day, so there had been some snow here that's just finishing up melting. There's a sequoia tree in front of me there. Some dirt bike riders. We got into some water, not too bad though, and kept on climbing this mountain. This is still the mountain ridge road, Piute Mountain Road. It goes up and over these hills to Lake Isabella. Got into a little more snow here. I don't know why I felt compelled to go over the deepest part of this snowdrift. It just seemed like fun. Had a new set of tires on, the Motaz Tractionator Adventure tire, which was really good, had great traction. Watch this here. James cannot go through a puddle or a snowdrift without gas in it, so I got the tsunami of snow there as I was right behind him, and he hit the throttle, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, he can't resist. This is up at high elevation over Lake Isabella with Mount Whitney in the distance, and now we're heading back down the mountain. We probably got to just over 6,000 feet here. Lots of trees were down. There's James going around. This part of the trail wasn't too bad, but later in the day we probably encountered 30 trees down. So a little bit of a go around here. We ate breakfast in Bakersfield, but everything was closed down, so we just had fast food breakfast. And this is one of many gates that were locked. This was seemingly locked, but it was actually loose. It wasn't actually locked up at all. We just opened it up. So we had breakfast, ate on the trail for lunch, and got back at about 7 p.m. So about 12 hours of driving, maybe 100 miles on dirt. This is up on that same ridge road. We're looking to the left, the Greenhorn Mountains, I think there, and then on the right is Lake Isabella as we're coming down out of the Piute Mountains. You're being careful up here because one time before some dirt bike riders were riding on the wrong side of the road. So this is a little sketchy up here with lots of population nearby. You can see the switchbacks down below us there as we're descending. You can see Lake Isabella in the distance, where we'll get gas and some water. As we came down, we got to the north side of Lake Isabella and then went up through the Kern River Valley. This is a gate we had to go around. It's a little sketchy. Here's a very big cliff on my left. So we walked the bikes around just barely enough for him to stand on. You'll see a view there with James.
Nice peg.
Pulling his bike around. It's a little more sketchy with Mike and Sean. There's the Kern River exiting the lake. Mike and Sean had their panniers on, so the side boxes made it a little more difficult, and a couple times they had to take those off. Here we're in Kernville. We're crossing the Kern River, and there's the map, Lake Isabella on the bottom. We went up the Kern River Valley. You can see the Kern River is still flowing very heavily. This is the early part of May. As we came through, there's a jet fighter going up the canyon. There's usually two of these, so I waited for a second, and the second one will fly over They're doing training probably out of China Lake Naval Air Station. Here's some slow motion. These two jets were following each other at a high bank turn, and then we saw the afterburners come on, and then the plane flips over to the side and makes a sharp left turn. It's pretty cool at low altitude to see them fly over. And even with motorcycles going at highway speed, it was super loud. So then we got past another gate and decided to take some off-road trail. This is up north. This is a little sketchy. A little north of the Kern River Valley. And this was probably one of the first times this trail had been used. Some of these trees had been cut down, but there were many more that were down here. And it took probably 2 hours to go a very short distance on this road. Every corner it seemed there was another tree down. We had to go under some of these.
I think I broke the log in half.
Some of them had to be moved, some of them went over. But fortunately, Sean had his saw, and that saved the day. We were able to get through. This is actually a forest road, 23SO2 forest road, so we took it, bypassing the highway, the M50 highway. And you can just see it's tree after tree. There was some deer in here, scared off. So just some slow going around some of these trunks, and many of these were green trees, so you couldn't break them off very easily. So by the time we got through all these, it was fairly hot exercise. And this one we had to go around, down the hill, then back up the other side. There's James powering up on the KTM.
All right.
There's some really cool cloud formations. See the wind was whipping around. Like blasting up the hill on the Africa Twin. And yet another tree. This one we actually broke and pulled away. And in spite of the trees, it was still a really fun ride. Really nice temperatures, probably in the 60s to 70 up on top of the mountain. A little bit of fog there. This tree we had to build a little ramp to go up, but we didn't want to drive over because it was so close to the edge. We were afraid that getting the right alignment we might risk bouncing the bike down the hill, so we actually pulled them over up that bit of a ramp. Just tree after tree. This one we had to go underneath. You can see the bike. We had to be off the bike and then tilting it because we couldn't sit on the bike.
Yeah, I did too.
This is James going through, but that was pretty tricky. Just barely could hold the bike up at an angle and slowly get the windshield under the tree branches. And then one final gate. Let's see the side bags make that a little challenging, but no issues at the end of the day. At the end of the dirt trail, we air back up and then we're back on the pavement. You can see the fantastic valley in green colors below. So we're exiting the Greenhorn Mountains down towards California Hot Springs, Pine Flat, and then see a really cool hawk fly out of the trees here. The guy's scared out. There's a slow motion. This is the General's Highway. We come back down and then made our way home. It's a fantastic trip.